Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Neil Haley Show. It's been a while, so my producer Dave Cable and I talked about this, and we're going to have seasons. So, again, this is our fall season leading into the winter season. That summer season was amazing. 8 weeks of amazing guests. I interviewed probably 16 people in a matter of 4 hours. This week, this season, 8 amazing guests, 4 in studio, and then 4 on the phone on the Neil Haley Show. I would have been in the studio earlier, but I had a freak accident, broken toe, lacerated toe. But if you follow me at Total Tutor or TotalTutor.net, you would know what's going on with me because we're doing live shows every day, major celebrities. I'm interviewing someone from Heroes Reborn today, live at 3 p.m. Eastern. Interviewed somebody from the new Peanuts movie. So you got to go to my website, TotalTutor.net, or follow me at Twitter at Total Tutor or Neil S. Haley. And I thought let's put some locality and put some local flavor into this. When you have a studio, like we have Marianne Anderson from Northern Connection Magazine, we've had Darnell Dinkins, Super Bowl champion, so we brought some people in the studio before when it was an education show. But I'm excited to welcome a former colleague of mine in this school, one of my favorite schools I ever taught in St. Agnes, especially when Patsy Caulfield was principal. So, Coach Karen Hall. Coach Karen Hall, how are you?
I'm good, Neil. Nice to see you.
It's great to have her. We had her interviewed her probably 4 years ago about her career, but not an in-depth interview like we're going to do today because, again, former UNLV college basketball star, involved in the Ozanam basketball, head coach, coaching now as well. She's coached for Duquesne. She's done so many different things. But the story has to take place, and when I interview celebrities, and she says, well, celebrity. Well, a celebrity locally, especially at WPL Hall of Fame, your team. So there's a lot of accolades for Coach Karen Hall. But if you Googled her, as I have this up here, I have hardly any bio, and I have to tell her, hey, she's got to get that social media blueprint, that Google blueprint. But we're going to find out the story about her. So starting out, did you always want to play basketball growing up?
Well, you know, I actually went to St. Agnes where I ended up teaching. So that was a wonderful coming back home. And, you know, we had basketball at school. And actually, St. Agnes is where everything began. So I was on the team. And actually, my coach thought I was pretty good.
Right.
She actually sent me to my first camp at Carlow, which is now Carlow University. And I figured out I could do this. And I just continued to hone my craft.
Yes.
Playing basketball, maintain my studies. That was huge in our household. And then I started playing against other kids around Pittsburgh. And then I found about Ozanam. And Ozanam just opened my world.
Oh, wow.
Tremendous exposure from the type of people that just are in Pittsburgh to traveling domestically and then internationally. So my basketball career, I could say, really took off when I became involved with Ozanam.
Ozanam, and I played Ozanam as well when I played for Central Catholic. I played Ozanam, and then I think I played another league with my good friend Charles Burks. So Ozanam was awesome because, again, that is, again, the Hill District. Explain that for our international, national audience to know about this, basically, that this is where the playground legends came from, or Ozanam.
Right. So Ozanam, which was, as Neil just mentioned, was originated in the Hill District under the direction of Mr. Carl Coleman. In conjunction with the Diocese of Pittsburgh.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Absolutely. Okay. So we were located on Ozanam, which was the bottom court in Granville. So right off Center Avenue. Locally, you would know the Console.
Right.
You know, internationally, domestically, like our downtown area.
Right.
So basically, Ozanam became a bridge to bridge kids from all over Western Pennsylvania, Springdale, Indiana, PA, the Hill District. We all were connected by our commonality of basketball.
Okay.
And so you talk about diversity, which is huge today.
Yeah.
All of our diversities began so early when we were like 12, 13, 14 years old.
Right.
So today we're indoctrinated to be around different types of people from all different cultures.
Exactly.
So not only was it the sport, but it was an education, just meeting different people in our own city, in our own backyard that we didn't even know. Hill District, suburbia, rural. And that way, it begins to shape you as a person.
Yeah, it definitely does.
You know, and Mr. Coleman was big on exposure. So we would travel to Boston. We would go sightsee.
Wow.
We took a boat ride on the Boston Harbor.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, it was huge. And we would get information about it. The old Boston Garden, the legendary Boston Garden, where Larry Bird, shot all those winning shots. We were in there touring the Boston Garden. So we went to Stockholm, Sweden.
Oh my
So
gosh.
we had translators
And
come
this
in.
all has to do with Oznan.
This all had to do with those.
It was, so you had to be pretty much on the all-star team of Oznan.
You have to be one of the
the best elite
type
players. They're not going. Not
No.
everyone playing at
No.
Ozanam.
Right.
I didn't go to any of these places when I
Right.
played at Ozanam. I mean, Central Catholic had an Ozanam team, and then, like I said,
Right.
my friend Charles Burks had
Right.
an Ozanam team. And that's the thing that's amazing about Ozanam is that ultimately it wasn't just so structured that you would have teams that were from high schools
Exactly.
or teams from middle schools.
Right.
You would have teams from the neighborhood that were
Absolutely.
playground players.
All playground
and
legends.
and they could play for certain time
Yes.
after. So high school kids were playing with some pretty top
Oh
talented
yeah,
players.
that was the ideal of bringing kids in from all over.
Right.
Because you're suburbanite, rural, or urban, and you think you're good.
Exactly.
Well, when you come to Ozanam, it's a huge barometer of where you are and where everyone else is. So you get to measure your craft, you get to measure your skill, your strength, and where you're weak at. Because players there, that time, players are playing all day long.
Yes.
And all year long.
Yes.
So every day, people were getting better. So if you came there thinking you were hot stuff, someone probably
Yeah.
cooled you off with a jumper here, a dunk there.
A dunk there, yeah.
You know,
and then the crowds were pretty big as
the
well.
crowds were huge. That was a part of the culture of Ozanam. The bringing people together, you know, whereas maybe we wouldn't tend to come up into the Hill District. But you came there, you parked your car, and guess what? It was there when you left.
Exactly.
You know,
Is-
officiating. You know, we had black officials, we had white officials, we had
Right.
Hispanic officials. It was diversity.
So the time you're playing girls basketball, Ozanam started for you at what age? You're at
So I
St.
was 13 years old.
13. So this is after St. Agnes, so you went on to
Yeah,
Mount
I
Alvernia.
went to Mount Alvernia High School. Actually, I was scheduled to go. It was then Oakland Catholic, or excuse me, St. Paul Cathedral.
yeah.
Now Oakland Catholic. People say I was recruited. I just say I took the test for Mount.
So was
I
Mount
got in.
Alvernia the team? Was that an Ozanam team, Mount Alvernia, or did you play?
Actually,
did not?
no. I ended up playing on different teams. Our high school team never really entered into Ozanam.
That happened later. That high schools started to get more into.
So
more
9th through
neighborhoods.
12th grade, I played Ozanam all the way through, but I encouraged some of my Mount Alvernia teammates to come play Ozanam
Right.
outside of our high school team so that you can get better. You got better in Ozanam, you know, so you brought your high school
Right.
skills to Ozanam individually.
Exactly.
Because we didn't play as a team, a summer league team. That means that our coaches pretty much took a break our high school coaches.
Exactly.
Took a break during the summer. So we went off and did what we did, camps, summer leagues, shootouts, just work out. But that was the place. And if you wanted to get better, you played Ozanam. And then if you were skilled enough, you were ventured off into those AAU teams, the teams that were traveling domestically and internationally. For some of us, Ozanam provided our first flight. Now,
Oh my gosh.
even though, I mean, you say it's just a sport. Well, no.
Yeah.
It was a huge
So
culture
what was so
enriching.
you're basically the best players in Ozanam girls basketball in
Right.
high school would have a travel team.
Absolutely.
So that's not always out there that they did have that. So that was after the league was over. So like the league started like probably in June and ended at a certain time. Then you did the travel stuff, or you did the travel stuff.
Oh, no,
throughout
we
the year.
did the travel stuff right in the midst of the summer league.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was
Okay.
AAUs. The
So
Amateur
you played
Athletic
during the
Union.
weekdays for the games.
Yeah,
And then,
and like maybe Friday through the weekend, we were traveling to Boston, Louisiana. Ozanam, because we were Ozanam AAU team, that's
Right.
when all the best players could be on one
Exactly.
team. We are two-time defending national AAU champions.
Oh wow! So this is
16
the
and
AAU
18
when it
under.
really started, and it was not at this point where it's the best played AAU,
Right.
not the ones that had the money. And
Exactly.
that's the problem. What's happening in
Yes.
travel teams
Totally
now? is
agree.
anyone could go and be an all-star
Yes.
team now. That's garbage. The best players should be playing. And then the other thing is, where are they not going on the playgrounds anymore?
Right.
Because again, when I was told, okay, suburban kid, I'm going to go play basketball, you can't go keep playing with kids from Edgewood. You can't keep playing with kids of Forest Hills. You had to come to the Hill. You had to come to Reisenstein to learn how to play basketball. You could not play, and you got to play with kids older than you that could play above the rim, so you would build and develop those skills. And that's why I guarantee that's why we have more players in Europe, because they're playing year round, and these kids are all oh, we're going to this league. I got a kid I tutor that plays at Gateway, but they're not playing on the playgrounds anymore. They're playing in gyms. It's a sad thing, but we could talk about the state of Ozam. It's more about Coach Karen Hall on this interview. But again, the series of interviews this season, you will see Darrell Porter, University of Pittsburgh. You can talk about his days, and he's also involved. And then Bill Neal, Connie Hawkins. And so I'm excited about, and again, I know Bill Neal, and I wonder if he'll remember me from when I was sitting down at the draft with Coach Corlew. We'll have to bring that up.
He doesn't forget too many people.
Bill, I know, I'm sure, because Bill, and for sure. But let's kind of jump into, you're getting this experience. Did you think you were going to play college basketball when you were that? So you were probably one of the best players in girls basketball at Mount Overy. Meaning, like, you were, what's it called, Post-Gazette type? Or
right, exactly. Post-Gazette, Indian Street and Smith, and then I was on the national level with the like AAU All-American status. So I had developed a reputation for myself around the country. Okay. And AAU at that time, you were playing against the best players, which brought all the best coaches out to watch you. So I
the coaches that's how they were recruiting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As a freshman at Mount Overy, I began to get letters.
Oh my gosh!
So letters are good because that's the norm. But you're pretty good when they start the calls.
Yeah.
And then they start by your junior year, senior year. They want to come visit you in your home. So I had coaches coming to Pittsburgh to visit me in my home. They would go to my high school, the academic end of it. Right. Then they come see me play against really good teams. Then.
Right.
So I thought it was pretty good because my barometer on the AAU level, I could compete. And I actually ended up being teammates with a couple girls from Tennessee and from California that played AAU on their circuit.
Right, and we'll talk about also how you balanced the books while doing all this, because St. Agnes and Mount Alvernia are not easy schools to get good grades.
Right.
And again, Coach Hall went on to be a phys ed teacher as well during a stint in her career. Right. It's interesting. I never would have thought this St. Agnes group. We have, again, Coach Karen Hall, myself, nationally syndicated radio host and TV, former professional wrestler at St. Agnes. And then you have people like Brandon Knight send his kid to St. Agnes, and Carl Krauser send his kid to St. Agnes. So you had some pretty, and then you have Kevin McClatchy walking in and Kevin Johnson walking in. That was this amazing thing with Extra Mile Foundation. So that's another reason why Coach Karen Hall said, I'm going back to my alma mater, which is St. Agnes, to teach, and we can talk about that. I don't think we're going to get to everything as she sees that I continue to really tell a story. She needs to write a book. There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of things she keeps private, but she can't anymore. So when we get back, more in the Neil Haley Show with Coach Karen Hall, we're going to talk about UNLV and life after UNLV, some of the teaching, and then also the honors of the WPIAL. And I'm sure we'll have to do more. You're watching the Neil Haley Show, and also syndicated on the national level on radio and on the Total Education Network, and we'll be back in just a moment. We're back to the Neil Haley Show, and we are highlighting Coach Karen Hall, who will be my co-host for 3 interviews this month, and then the next season, the winter season, as I'll call this the fall season, even though fall is definitely upon us as it's November.
Yes.
And I talked about that serious injury, but you got to go to totaltutor.net for more information. Twitter, Total Tutor, Neil S. Haley, Facebook, LinkedIn, Neil Haley, Instagram, Total Tutor, Pinterest, Neil Haley, Google Plus, and also on Periscope at Total Tutor. I got a Periscope again, interviewing the Princess of Serbia. That's the last time I did a Periscope, but I'll have to Periscope again. So we're going back with Coach Karen Hall. Now, you're recruited.
Yes.
Why did you choose UNLV? I mean, is it because of Coach Jerry Tarkanian had to come in? The Shark had to kind of put his little point in saying, okay, I'm going and looking at kids. Weren't there kids from, did anyone play UNLV from Pittsburgh?
Well,
the Tarkanian recruited.
So Larry Anderson, he actually played, he was a Shinley grad.
Okay.
Was recruited nationwide and ended up at UNLV. And he played prior to my arrival. So
Okay.
he was probably 4 or 5 years prior to my arrival there. So I knew of him. I actually met his brothers that were now living in Vegas. And then, of course, Armin Gilliam, who we lost a few years ago, right from Bethel
I didn't
Park.
know he passed away.
Yeah,
Oh my
he's
gosh.
probably gone like 3 or 4 years now.
But Armin was after you.
Armin was before me.
Oh, before you.
Yeah.
So there goes another Pittsburgh type of source that for the running reps.
Well, the UNLV had a Pittsburgh connection. Like actually, for the Lady Rebels, we had a young lady by the name of Lori Arndt who played at Mount Alvernia, about 6'3".
Okay.
She ended up out at UNLV playing, and then it was so Larry Anderson, Lori Arndt, and then Armin Gilliam. Armin, who wrestled at Bethel Park, his basketball career started so much later, but he evolved into an NBA player.
Yeah.
He ended up going to a junior college in Texas.
Right.
And Coach Tim Gergich, another local.
Oh yeah, Gergich,
Pittsburgh,
yes.
And Clee Edwards, another local.
Did you know
Pittsburgh.
Gergich?
I knew them all, yes.
Yeah.
Still in touch with them. They recruited Armin. They went to go see another kid and found Armin.
Oh my.
So Armin was 2 years prior to my arrival, and we became great friends at UNLV. I didn't know Armin here in Pittsburgh.
So did Tarkanian come out, and did you know meet the Shark when you were before signing your letter with UNLV?
Yeah. So I remember I'm a lady reb.
Yes.
So Coach Tark's a rebel. So he was a men's head coach. So actually Jim Bola, who was from Pittsburgh, who played at Pitt, was the co-head coach at UNLV. So there's so many Pittsburgh ties
To the-
out of
the Rob
UNLV
Rose,
prior to my arrival that they kept coming back home to recruit.
Okay.
Hotbed.
So, but what other schools? I mean,
So I had University of Southern California,
right.
University of Nevada, Las Vegas, Connecticut, which wasn't Connecticut back then,
Or
and
you
University of Missouri.
You would have gone to Connecticut.
Well, I don't know.
Right?
I had AUs had allowed me to travel all over.
Yeah.
That I never ventured west. So I was Magic Johnson was doing his thing out in LA, and I thought, I love that guy. I love how he plays his charisma.
Exactly.
I got to get to SC. I got to get to Southern Cal.
Right.
So when Southern Cal recruited me, I'm like, that's where I'm going. I visited all my other schools because you can get 5 visits.
And somehow UNLV's the.
So here's bottom line. Here's the story. I'm 5'4" point guard. It was a 6'4" post from Palos Alto, California, right near Stanford. Well, USC recruited the post. I can't grow anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's it. I'm a point guard. So they took the 6'4" post. So my choices came down to USC, Southern California, and University of Nevada, Las Vegas. They both were out west. I was going west. So USC signed the 6'4" post.
Yeah.
So UNLV signed the 5'4" point guard. Happily ever after, it worked out great.
So the women's team at UNLV, we all know about the men's team. Were they pretty good?
Oh, we were running. For my 4 years, we did 3 NCAAs. Second round was like the furthest we advanced, and then we did it.
Because there was only like 8 powerhouses in women's college basketball.
Well, at that time, Tennessee was the dominant.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Tennessee was the dominant. They had Old Dominion still dominating then.
Right.
So you really had 2 powers. Like everybody else was behind. And USC with Cheryl Miller had just won back-to-back. Michelle Miller, the McGee sisters, Pam and Carla. I mean, they were powers then. But it wasn't like today. You have about 5 powers.
But you have teams that could go further.
Exactly. You have teams that can be extremely competitive now. So I ended up, we were running. So I got to start the break. The big kid got the rebound. I was the outlet. And we were pushing. We were the running Lady Rebs. And
so
we
you
ran
went
quite
three
well.
three
NCAAs, 2 conference championships,
Okay.
a host of individual awards for myself, a 2-year team captain. My senior year, I was a lone captain. So I was extremely happy with my collegiate athletic
And
career.
then that time the WNBA was really in development.
WNBA was nowhere
Could
near.
you play it? Could you have played it?
Everything was
What
overseas.
if they had WNBA
Oh, I
then?
could have played it. I was mentally, I was at that level. Physically, I was at that level and could still get better. You know, for the next level. Opportunities to go overseas existed.
Right.
At that point in my brain, I was going to trade my tennis shoes in for my microphone. Television broadcasting was my academic major.
Okay.
And I had done internships out at UNLV, our CBS affiliate out there. I had written for our local campus newspaper. I was swamped.
Okay.
So by my senior year, I was hiding.
So was there not as much money in Europe at that time for women's basketball?
I think it was enough money. Mentally, I just was ready to go into something.
Okay, so
like,
we're figuring out life after already for her.
Yeah,
we're already finding out life after basketball for Coach Karen Hall. She said, no, my major's journalism. I'm going that way. I'm good at sports broadcasting. I'm getting into this. So right out of there, so you instead of saying coaching, no, you want to go this way.
Yeah, coaching wasn't in my brain. So actually, I wrote a Swedish diary when we played in Sweden. The Pittsburgh Courier asked me to keep a diary. So I did, and when I came back, we edited and published it in the paper. There sparked my interest to major in communications.
Right.
So then I thought, well, I like to talk.
Right.
How about this? What do we do? Communications, broadcast?
Exactly.
And that's what I did. So I maximized my academic time at UNLV, internships, student newspaper, sports editor.
Right.
We did a television station out at UNLV, and I was a part of all that, honing what was to become my future.
Exactly.
And then I graduated 4 years. That was one of the best moments of my life. And I actually wanted to broadcast for the Lady Rebels. So it was, they hired me in sports information.
Okay.
So sports information.
So you stayed in Vegas for a while?
For like part of the summer, because sports information, you had to do computers and numbers. I'm a talker. I'm a people person. I could talk to the computer, won't talk back. So I stayed there for a minute, and then I got a job here in Pittsburgh as an associate sports producer at WPXI.
Okay.
And there launched
So did you work with Fedco?
Yeah.
John Fedco?
Yeah, I worked with Fedco.
John.
He was on his, he had just came in when I then fell into coaching. So understand, I played my entire life. I didn't think about coaching as my career.
So you were doing sports information with...
Sports information in Vegas. I get a job here in Pittsburgh.
PXI.
PXI. So I fly back to Pittsburgh. I'm home now, working at PXI. Well, it's summertime. Where's my basketball? Where's my summer leagues? You know, I'm having this withdrawal symptoms. So a job opened up at Duquesne.
Okay, that's where I saw.
That's where it all started.
So if you Google her, things come up from a long time ago, and I'm like, oh, did she get hired by Duquesne? And I didn't know about that after leaving St. Agnes. No. I guess it was a story about being a St. Agnes person. Okay, so you get hired as assistant at Duquesne?
TV or basketball, and I love both. But I guess I love basketball a little bit more because I fell into coaching. And it just fit.
So you were assistant coach at Duquesne?
I was an assistant coach at Duquesne 3 years.
What years were those?
89 to 91, 92.
Okay.
And then I was an assistant at Cleveland State.
Okay.
92 to 93, 94.
Was that after Cleveland State's success in men's basketball?
Right in between.
Right in between, yeah.
So, assistant coach Duquesne, I coached Connie Hawkins men's for 3 summers. Extremely successful. These guys are older than me. They're taller than me.
And a lot of basketball legends.
And they were legends. And we had 2. I had Billy Varner, who played at Valley, who was a pro then. He was a European pro. So he was on my squad. Andre Boyd, who was a point guard at Robert Morris University.
Yeah, Robert Boyd. Yeah.
I mean, these guys were talented.
That was, what year was that? That was 90.
That was 90, 91 when I first started
I
coaching
played at
I
played Western Maryland in 92, college basketball there. So I was with Boyd and all them. And I forget, Samba Johnson was a good friend, a childhood friend of mine.
Yes.
I wonder where he is at now.
Last I knew, I thought he was coaching in Ohio somewhere. Last time I remember.
Not like a major school, just smaller?
Smaller school. Smaller, I think a Mac school.
Oh, really? Assistant?
Assistant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where did he play college ball?
I don't remember where Samba
No,
was.
Samba played Robert Morris, right? Did he? No.
I'm not sure. He may have been local.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I do know he had some kind of Robert Morris ties.
Right.
Yeah. But, so I fell into, the coaching the men catapulted me mentally and physically. Mentally, I had these guys For 3 years, we went back to back. 3-point shot. Yeah, Connie Hawkins. A 3-point shot going down from a three-peat.
And is that what you're still coaching at Duquesne? No.
Yeah. This was the summer.
Oh,
because I could coach college men because they weren't one from one college. They were from all over, and they were men. I wasn't coaching women. Okay. I couldn't do women like that.
And that's how you know Bill Neal real well. Exactly. But you probably knew him from Osnam too.
No, I met Bill Neal through maybe just
Connie
some community services.
Okay.
And the first year, he just so happened to have asked me. I don't think he asked me because I wasn't coach then.
Right.
So he just needed someone. I tell him he needed a filler, so he thought I would do it. So I was the first woman to coach in the league, to win Coach of the Year in the league, and to win back-to-back Connie Hawkins championships. I gained USA national attention for that. I was in the USA Today for winning that.
Oh, wow.
So my coaching career catapulted from that first championship.
Right.
I mean, it became like wildfire around the city. Karen Hall, Connie Hawkins, and it was like, wow. And I could coach men.
So quickly, you coach now at CCAC.
So I've been from Cleveland State. I was all over the country. I started my head coaching job, my head coaching tours, I call it, at Northeastern Illinois University in Chicago. So I had like 3 or 4 stints after that.
Right.
Family changes brought me back to Pittsburgh. Right. Still wanted to coach, so I got a couple of different jobs here. Now I'm landing here at CCAC Allegheny. So in 3 years at CCAC, I'm a conference championship runner-up.
Oh, wow. My gosh.
Yeah, and then, the rest of my teams have been like 500 above, below.
So we talked about the teaching thing before, but that'll be part 2, kind of say, how did she come into teaching? Why did she go back to St. Agnes? Why did she meet someone that's like myself? And then reaches out to me after she sees. Yeah. But you didn't know. You thought it was still the days of the Toll Education Hour.
I did.
You did not know all what I'm doing and who I've interviewed and all those interesting things. And like I said, she needs to get the blueprint out there. So again, Coach Karen Hall, amazing. And then WPIAL Hall of Fame, your team.
Yes.
So the Mount Alvernia women's team.
Right, 34-0 state championship team. First high school girls team in the state of Pennsylvania.
Do you think you'll ever be in the WPIAL Hall of Fame for women's basketball?
I am. I'm already in the WPIAL Hall of Fame.
But with the team?
Our team is.
What about the individual?
I am.
That's why I asked you.
I'm so there's like 7 or 8, so I'm like the 5th or 6th inductee.
That's why I asked you. You said the team.
I am. So I am a WPI
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
And that's what I think that needs to be. That's going to be the first thing that's going to be on the podcast. And again, my producer Dave Cable, WPIAL Hall of Famer.
Yes.
Because there's not a lot of them. Is Darrell Porter one?
No. He's a City League Hall of Famer.
Yes, City League. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so you're bigger than him. We'll have to tell him that. All right, so thanks again for watching the Neil Haley Show. The season, the fall season begins. Big guests coming up. And you guys stay tuned. Go to my website, totaltutor.net for more information. Twitter, Total Neil S. Haley, Facebook, LinkedIn, Neil Haley, Instagram, Total Tutor, Pinterest, and Google+, and also on Periscope at Total Tutor. Tweet me out questions. Take care, guys, and we'll see you next week.
BPTV. Come volunteer. If it wasn't fun, I wouldn't be here.
BPTV. Come on in, make a show. It's still fun after all these years.